Today we're going to talk about the order of operations. By the end of the video, you should have a better understanding of what order to perform each operation in. The different operations are parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. An easy way to remember that is to take the first letter from each and create the saying, "Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally." This will also help you to remember which order to perform them in. However, multiplication and division are on the same level, so when they're both in an equation, you move from left to right, even though multiplication in our saying comes first. The same thing also applies for addition and subtraction. Our first letter is P, which stands for parentheses, which look like these. This operation is the first step that should be completed before anything else. So looking at our example, 3 minus 2 in parentheses times 2, we would start with those parentheses. So 3 minus 2 equals 1 times 2 is going to give us the answer of 2. Now let's move on to our next step. Our next letter is E, which stands for exponents. An exponent is a smaller number like this one, placed after another number that tells us to what power to multiply that number to. In other words, that means how many times to multiply a number by itself. So 3 to the second is going to be the same thing as 3 times 3. So looking at our example, 5 to the second times 2, we'll complete the exponent first. So 5 to the second, or 5 times 5, is 25, and then times 2 is going to equal 50. Our second to last step is multiplication and division. Remember, they're both on the same level, so if both of them are in the same equation, we're just going to move from left to right, no matter what order they come in. So looking at our first example, 8 times 2 divided by 12, moving left to right, is going to be 8 times 2, which equals 16, divided by 2, which equals 8. And our next equation, left to right, is going to be 16 divided by 2, which is 8, times 2, which is going to give us the answer of 16. Our very last step is going to be addition and subtraction. Just like multiplication and division, they're on the same level. So again, we're going to work from the left to the right. So let's look at example 1. 6 plus 2 minus 1. Starting from the left, we're going to work 6 plus 2, which is 8, and then move on to minus 1, which is going to equal 7. And then the next one, even though subtraction comes first, we're still going to work left to right. So 6 minus 2 equals 4, plus 3 is going to give us another answer of 7. Let's look at a few examples of equations that put several of our operations together. So in the first one, we see parentheses, so we know to solve that first. 5 minus 1 is 4, plus, and then we see an exponent, so 2 to the second is 2 times 2, which is also 4, and then times 3. Now we know to do multiplication first, so 4 plus 4 times 3 is 12, and then adding those together, we'll get 16. Our next equation, we see both multiplication and division, so we start with those moving left to right. So 4 divided by 2 is 2, and then multiplying 2 times 3 equals 6. We then have to add that first 6 in, so 6 minus 6 equals 0. There are just a few things that you should remember from this video. The first thing is to remind yourself, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, to know in which order to perform operations in. So that's going to go parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, and then addition and subtraction. The second reminder is that multiplication and division are on the same level, just like addition and subtraction. So when both operations are present in the same equation, remember just to move from left to right. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching.